Yeah, brother. Let's go. Alright, let's save. What save file are we on? This one? Okay. Yes, this is where we were yesterday. When I decided to go to bed because I was tired as crap. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him find Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lena, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in the court? Can you look me, an investigator on the crime, in the eye and say that you did that? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order to get him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lena, even if it involved forging evidence. Dang. Man's dead, man's dead. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order, order, order. Lena's remarks caused such a stir the chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. To be continued. Save your progress, might as well. Oh, hey, Ron. Just in time, I just started. February 22, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. Yo, thanks for the host, JTB. I was waiting for your stream so I didn't miss anything. Thanks. Alright, now the party can begin. Yeah, I was planning on starting a little earlier, but I got pretty busy with stuff, so there's left to do. We did what we had to in order to get him the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Darke killings. Sounds like everyone heard about those killings but me. Lena wanted Darke convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Darke's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating evidence, or an incriminating piece of evidence. Well, what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was killed, Joe Darke tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother Neil was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yeah. I was the witness in the Joe Darke trial. I didn't see that one coming. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Darkey. It seems like he was trying to run from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother? Joe Darkey tried to take me hostage, and then but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out suddenly. A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? I don't remember the moment when Darkey stabbed Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lena forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was using false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lena was never the same. She became cold like she is today. Must not be able to face up to what she did, especially not Lena. Or Emma. Oh, what's this? Got a notification a second. Alright. We're good. Permanent picture. What did you see in the instant the crime occurred? Darkey knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lena was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14? Well, that's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a forensic investigator, or scientific investigator. I wanted to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. And find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lena wouldn't never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you weren't in Lena's office at the time, right? That's right. And why would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Darkey had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run away all the way to your sister's office? Because the detective offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator. But Lena was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lena was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? Well, that's news to me. After the Joe Darke case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lena used to be a detective. I better have another talk with her. Alright, let's go. Let's go talk to Lena. Alright, let's save real quick. Detention Center. February 24th, Detention Center Visitors Room. Lena? Mr. Wright? It seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't play along. Criminals don't mind playing fool. Why would we? But Lena, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lena, Emma told me all about you. Oh. About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about the unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I suspected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lena. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At the trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lena. About the witness, what Mrs. Starr said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife? Lena, I understand. Or I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lena look so phased before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk all about the cases she and Chief Gant cackled about. Or cracked. Cackled. Jeez. Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of the police back then. But he still works the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Darke. Second in command. That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and same investigations. They even had the same office? We've had a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Darke was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Darke. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Darky that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Darky must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there he followed me to my office. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lena? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Darky. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, and Emma, who had passed out. And the suspect, Joe Darky. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Darky had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? Well, to be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. I can't blame her after all that. After that, I placed Darky under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right, quite a coincidence, huh? I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Darky. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Darky at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Gant now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Alright, cool. Let's go. Chief's office. February 24th. Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things are kind of quiet today. You're right. The chief of detectives seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for people to talk to? Right. We can just come back here later. That man must be the chief of detectives. He's staring at the screen so hard it might shatter. What? Darky case has been fabricated? That's what I thought all along. I just never bothered to tell anyone. Now there's a guy who cares about his work. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. That's it, the villain used a time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. He's not writing a report, he's writing a novel. Alright, oops. Let's go to the police department entrance. Alright. February 24th, police department entrance. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Cusera Sada. You never know where life will lead, you know. Oh, where life will lead you, Bambina. I should have known my luck would run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Oh, must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. sorry.
Or sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner.
But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it?
Why do prosecutors head west? Or prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about it, it was that one.
Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened?
Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today.
Something was
fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either, the detectives thought so too.
What do you mean, fishy?
Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon.
The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip?
That was Joe Darkey's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade, the knife, was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained.
What does that mean?
It means there was a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased.
Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence?
That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars that SL9 incident left behind?
I've got the looks, but he's got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the...
King of Prosecutors.
I knew it.
What are you looking at me like that for? That's the honor of a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have been really close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence locker was empty?
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that case, save one, was taken care of. Mrs. Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman?
If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious.
They? What are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean, Damon Gant and Elena Sky. The investigation led Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Elena Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lena transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
You like my Marshall accent? Yeah, I don't know if it sounds good, but I don't know. I'm trying to get like a chain-smoking cowboy kind of voice. I don't know if it's working. I think I jinxed you. Oh no, I'll try not to think about it too much. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, I'll keep trying to do that.
Yeah. Damon Gant and the new chief of police arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but your secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lena's...
Does it hurt? Is it not hurt your throat? A little. I got an extra glass of water, and I've been sipping on that. And it's been fine so far.
Lena's secret, it all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
It was certainly enlightening.
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy.
Good to know.
He was the one who used falsifying evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. When you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Alright, let's take a look over here, I guess. February 24th, Prosecutor's Office, Underground Parking Lot. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case, but instead it looks like we just ended up making Lena look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lena. I've got to find out all the answers by tomorrow. Alright. Let's see here. Can I go in here? Oh, here we go. Criminal affairs. This place is pretty empty, but today this place is usually pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everybody's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're in the conference room.
Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us.
With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and deciding and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together.
I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Oops, skipped the text. Oh well. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits.
Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Wow. Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. That's what it says on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. and I thought I was a genius. I never could remember where C was.
Oh, it's you two.
Chief Gant! He put that paper he was reading on his desk.
So, Righto, have you been swimming lately?
No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately.
I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lena's provocative statement.
Provocative statement? Oh, you mean the forged evidence?
2 years have passed since that since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lena, Neil, and me.
So this is Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
We took it to commemorate our work together.
Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though.
Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's get out together.
Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same.
Or all the same, we'd still like to have a look around.
Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry and get out. We have a meeting to attend. Or I have a meeting to attend.
Looks like we aren't welcome. Seems that case isn't over yet. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he didn't want us in there looking around. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Alright, let's save the game real quick. It's been a while since I've saved.
Hey, pal.
Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop.
Say, have any of you seen Edgeworth?
Edgeworth? No, why do you ask?
He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It almost seems like a battle between you two in court.
That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said?
That's basically what it all boils down to. It falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood.
Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lena Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she?
Regarding a prosecutor and regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there's been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this...
Are there really so many people who hate him?
In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's also young. And there's no better receipt I know of for making enemies.
Hey Dick, keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat.
Or let's go out for lunch sometime. My treat.
Yes, sir.
You gotta take me to that joint. Blah. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick?
Yes, sir.
It seems you don't have any problem with enemies.
Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth might just crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing.
He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Oh, hey, OG Verm. What's up? Well, did you find out anything?
The only evidence Darkey left behind was during his final attack.
His final attack, you mean?
When he killed Prosecutor Marshall when he was trying to protect some girl.
Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl.
That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all.
Well, what was it? Normal shit life? Oof. I feel ya.
Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay?
His powers of recollection never fail to impress. How about you? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. You know, just got off work. Gotta go into work tomorrow morning, too. Life, but this game is pretty fun, so it's been pretty good. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Look.
Joe Darkey Joe Darkey with 42 at the time of the crime. He was just a run-of-the-mill businessman.
A businessman? Oh, I got time here. It's 3:12 a.m. Wow. For me, it's 8:12 p.m. It's after dinner for me. Hey, are you and Ron on the same time zone? Or is it different? A businessman? What made him take to serial killing?
One day he was on his way home from work. He hit someone with his car.
With his car? So it was an accident?
An accident, yes, but transformed him into an animal.
3:13 a.m.? Yo, same time zone. Cool. You switch at nighttime, gang. Represent.
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal.
An animal?
He killed a man.
Well, missed that text.
A kid walked by him just then. A jogger came up on the scene and he was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in.
Seems like he was a pretty careless animal.
Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence.
So he turned himself in.
Yes, but it was in the middle of questioning he fled and murdered his final victim.
Prosecutor Marshall.
That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Darkey was arrested on the spot.
Where are you from? Wow. Saudi Arabia? That's cool. Finland? Okay. Huh. I wouldn't have guessed that those had the same time zone. Those are both cool places, honestly.
It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed.
The last witness? AKA Emma. Alright, let's show him the, let's show him the knife. About this.
Hey, is that...
It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of.
What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it? Or that's it. Now I remember what happened. Now I remember what the incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what was it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again.
This knife, it was Joe Darkey's,
This knife, it was Joe Darkey's, wasn't it?
That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well, anyways, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Did it match Darkey's knife?
You bet. Down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report added to the court record. Switchblade knife updated in the court record.
Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can
I ask you one more thing?
What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Dant.
It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right?
It's where
It's where Officer Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief is out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around, if that's okay.
Well, any detective ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned.
Oh.
Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died.
Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Alright, let's go to the parking lot again, take a look around. Nope, nothing new. Prosecutor's office. I wonder if Edgeworth has come back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something.
What? What are you doing here?
He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh?
I'd have to live past the 2 years with...
I'd have to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around.
Well, what's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you.
Always trying to hide his real feelings.
So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact.
But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified.
The police department and the prosecutor's office shared a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we start to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. The fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth?
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this?
Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for trial tomorrow?
First last year's trial, and now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out of the trial.
Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists. This is odd.
After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given and prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at that time.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something changed. Or that picture, something changed in it?
Can you tell us about what happened on that day?
The day Detective Goodman was murdered.
You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this.
You can't ship out those rewards. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department.
You finished up at the office?
Yes. Just odds and end. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, the chief asked you to hold on to that, didn't he?
Yes. It was a piece of evidence in the case that closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office.
That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to, right?
That's right.
Alright, let's give him that photo we were talking about.
This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gann's office.
Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he had just started making a name for himself.
Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes?
The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding, it's a little different from yours.
Yes, you're right. Ah, I remember now.
Remember what?
That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind this design.
A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us?
It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story?
Me? Oh, sure, everyone knows that. Oh, but why don't you tell it for, Emma's sake?
Very well. Long time ago in the kingdom of Shu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was the halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon.
Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other.
Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very description of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize...
Precisely that. Precisely so. They symbolize they symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny.
If that's so, then why are you only given a shield? The vase behind Marshall's brother should help to solve this case, because I'm pretty sure I saw it broken. Oh, the back? What do you mean? Oh, the jar. Mm-hmm. Alright, so we have this jar. And then we also got this one. Yeah, the jar behind Marshall's brother. Okay. I wonder when that was broken, though. Because we haven't heard anything about that yet.
2 years ago, he had the Halbert part of the award abolished. Chief Gant.
King of Prosecutors trophy updated in the court record. See? Yeah, you could be a detective, Ron. Alright, do we got any other info from him? I wonder what was written before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's gonna fall to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. Not really, I thought Marshall was the killer. We don't know yet. It's not been solved. Maybe he really is. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you're having trouble reading it, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, it's not your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Oh no, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Letter of resignation put into pocket. Alright, let's save real quick. Yeah. Underground parking lot. Excuse me? Oh, it's her. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Starr! Oh, I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Alright. Still, I never thought I'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence of that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lena stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Starr's hatred towards Lena. It all dates back 2 years ago. Joe Darkey, that's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a hot bowl of gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though. He must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Hey, oh, thanks for the follow, Sky Birkinson. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lena? My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lena and Chief Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up with our investigations. That's why they were so shocked about how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Darkey got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties. Most without even as much as an explanation. Then Lena's guy transferred to the prosecutor's office and then became chief prosecutor. Lena always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Oh, you know what that means. You know what that means. Oops, I can update the title. Now we have a max total of 26 followers. Yay. Alright. Get a drink of water or something. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lena Sky was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon Gant and Lena Sky. Damon Gant led the investigation, and with Lena second in command, they were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism is in particular, is most unreal. Thanks. His magnetism? By that, I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produce the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even way back then. No one dared to confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lena. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, he felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr? That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did you have to turn so cold after that? Alright, being used. Lena transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and no one else could stand in his way. The prosecution office. What? You mean that's why Lena was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lena? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, She's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Mrs. Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chief than I've been. Alright, let's go. This one? Nope. Here we go. February 24th. Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department.
Oh, you're back.
You're still here?
I gotta make 150 copies of this file. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ.
You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ.
I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'll be my neck on the line.
That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Wait. Oh, I know. Present letter of resignation.
What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious.
Is he ever not serious?
I can't believe they pushed him this far.
Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible.
When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice, too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him.
Detective?
That's it. I've made up my mind.
But
Here, take my ID card.
we can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report.
Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I already might be as good as terminated.
What?
So at least let me do this. For my sake.
Alright, Detective. Thank you. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into pocket. Alright, cool. Let's go. Chief's office. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Click. Oh, we're in it. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner.
If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out.
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Detective Gumshoe.
What are you doing sneaking up on us like that?
I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried about that something might go wrong. So I came to.
If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket.
Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling.
Or I've got a bad feeling about this. The desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lena on the day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now?
No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now.
He
practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
That's a strange reason to leave it there.
He leaves it as a warning to anyone else. He wants us always to be alert. He told us so himself at our Christmas or at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see. So ever since Lena left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning.
Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Can I ask you something?
Or can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes? I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be... No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Now let's look around a little more.
Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you, don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You can't just let it go.
Sorry? This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you?
You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant? So it's finally come to this? What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet.
There you go, ignoring me again.
Alright, let's take a look around. No clues. These shelves are mostly empty. Elena must have cleaned them out when she was transferring over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the There's a small picture frame on the left of the shelf. Hey, this is when Lena and I went to that theme park.
Look at that giant window. Makes you wanna crash through it and jump outside.
This is the 15th floor.
Yeah, I know, I was just saying.
Saying what?
Ever since making detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. As long as he doesn't go crashing out through that window. When he gets fired. Don't say that! Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier...
Oh, it's you two!
Chief Gant? He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading.
This looks like a list of evidence.
A list of evidence?
In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though.
Hey, look at the case name.
Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here.
Hold on, Detective. What did you just say?
I said I wonder what...
No, about the evidence lists. Aren't they normally twice as long?
That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence.
A half-size list of evidence? The list of evidence seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
Now,
what would the other half... Now, would the other half of the list be doing here? Or no, what would it be doing here? I knew it! The chief must be hiding something about the case. It would appear so. Evidence list added to court record. Alright, let's check the desk. Oh, wait, that's the same one? Oh. Oh. This is a safe, isn't it?
Safe, that word is ripe with intrigue.
Okay, if you say so. Looks like a code needs to be entered into this panel to open it. A 7-digit number? I think I might just know what it is.
Hey, you know what it is?
I have a hunch.
Oh, I know. Why do you want me to try my birthday?
No,
It's...
I have a better idea. Here goes nothing.
Let's go.
The food's done. Bingo! What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was it, pal?
77777. The final ID card number in that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day.
You mean 7777777? That ID number?
I think you're 17. I think you said. Well, I think you're 17 shy this time.
That can only mean...
Or that can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Well. What do we have here?
Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's a...
A shard from a broken cup?
This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen it before? There's something else in there, too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once.
You think...
You think the chief made up the design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it's just the thought.
Is that it? Is that all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now.
Piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but useless until you can prove they have something to do with the case. I'm afraid I just can't let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here.
Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them? How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective. Alright, save. Alright, well that was the latest shard of the vase, so let's put that on there. Oh, I guess that's not it, huh? Oh, I have to... Okay. I need to talk to him. Oops. Hey man, look at the jar. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar?
I remember when the three of us put that together. Ah, those were the days.
It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this a piece of the evidence from that case? Or wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case?
That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any
bells? You know that fragment we just found.
You mean this one? That was in the safe?
Yes, that one. That was in the safe.
Now you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits.
Here, give me a crack at it.
Go ahead, pal. See what that rookie can do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Oops, Nice. There, it fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But...
Hey guys, get a load of this.
what is it?
This jar, this piece you just attached, it's different from the others.
There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe?
Unstable jar updated in court record. Alright. Do we have anything else to show him? Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this.
Hey, I know what that is, so you want to take some fingerprints?
That's a great idea, Detective.
Alright, go to town.
What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that?
Go ahead, take my fingerprints.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Huh?
Come on, this isn't the time for jokes.
We're talking about...
We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe.
Oh, I knew that. Take the one with the handprint on it, right? Jeez, where's your sense of humor?
Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth, and then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest of the way. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. There you go. I give it my best shot. This kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it? Oh, it doesn't look like we'll get a clearer result from this print. Okay, let's try a different finger then. Right. This one's pretty good.
Oh no, I missed a couple of pixels. Quick, go back.
There you go. Good enough. Alright. Who is it? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's Emma. Emma? What? Emma broke the vase? Or no. No, Emma had her handprint on that cloth. No. How can this be? Why are Emma's fingerprints? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints are they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark Age prints.
Psst, hey you, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe?
Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now.
Here, maybe you should hold on to this.
Piece of cloth folded and added to court record.
Well, was I any help?
Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some evidence. Well, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Oh, it's him. Isn't that right, you in the coat?
Chief Gant?
We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking, I happened to look out the window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just when I thought of a certain detective.
Do you mean me, sir?
Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat.
Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But sir...
Now get out.
Yes, sir.
We'll be on our way too, then. Wait, you, the one...
Wait, you, the one with the spiky hair. Don't go out yet.
Me, sir?
I'd like to have a word with you.
But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet.
You with the spiky hair, you're free to go.
Mr. Wright?
Look, pal, if I told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you?
I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired.
Yeah, but if I knew it would be like this, I never would have said it.
Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time?
I'm trying to smooth things over.
Or, I'm gonna smooth things over. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions. So she'll be busy for the rest of the day. February 24th, Detention Center Visitors Room. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you. That's why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really, I believe I did mention something important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you've convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted on that you did it, yet there's no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. That intriguing notion, a certain individual, you say? Or what what an intriguing notion, a certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No, I think afraid of is more like it. You should save? Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the person in questioning may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who, may I ask, is it this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so afraid of? Gant. Well, Mrs. Skye? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? Well, we were partners until about 2 years ago. I suspected him as a detective, or I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would you try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiries for what you did. Specifically hiding and forging evidence. Of course, those are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only person who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was... me. I had access because I was second in command of the investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in the case. Boy. I mean, if we found the jar in his safe, so I guess that's something. I just found this in the safe in the chief's office. This jar piece. And this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for this? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot deny that I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details. I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? Oh, you mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident, the serial killer Joe Dark's knife? I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife? That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in him. Miss Star, huh? Why did you need to hide Darky's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Darky case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So you hid the Darky knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in Joe Darky's case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right, then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on this force to know anything about it. That would explain why Emma was so confident about Lena's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling. The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden. He was the only one I could trust. Or, at least, I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean, not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone calls Any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lena, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Both. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lena's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. To be continued. Save your progress. Alright. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Alright, I'm gonna get another drink of water. I'll be back in a second. This is the final court date in this case, so, I don't think there's gonna be another chapter. This should be the final one in the game. So, I'll be able to finish this up tonight. Definitely. But I'm gonna get a drink of water. I'll be back in a minute. Hello. I'm back. Alright. You're kind of sad this is the last chapter. Well, there's more Phoenix Wright games, or there's more Ace Attorney games, and I plan on streaming them. So, once we're done with this one, I'll just start a new case sometime soon. Because there's a sequel to this called, like, Ace Attorney Justice for All. So I'm going to play that on stream sometime, too. Alright. Alright, let's go. This is the defendant lobby? This is the defendant lobby, alright. But there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lena all morning, but where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It seems almost as if something's been happening behind the scenes. That's worth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777 ID number is, that is? Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he has been officially charged with anything. Or he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any case, after all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lena's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. The day's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, then you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright? This is it. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Alright. In-game. Okay, cool. February 25th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 9.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lena Skye.
The defendant is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But just before that, the police chief has a proposal to make.
Chief Gant? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Morning, folks. How's everything doing? Hey, a G been back to the pool yet?
Oops. Oh, I might as well save. That was an accident, but I'm gonna save anyway.
No, I've been drowning enough as it is with my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that.
If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is your proposal of yours?
Lena, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court.
She wants to do what?
Haven't heard what she intends to say. I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble.
Uh-oh. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished.
Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lena! You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lena, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation.
Indeed.
Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise.
This can't be happening.
It appears the time for verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
One moment, Your Honor.
Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant's guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy.
Come now, Worthy, I understand this is a difficult time for you. But why don't you be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut,
I don't think I cared for your tone, Chief Gant.
What?
Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With the sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal has been struck behind the scenes.
Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy.
I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness.
Oh, to whom?
As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court to hear her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to be I don't care what you think, Mrs. Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it.
Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this, mark my words.
Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horses by the reins. Oh wait, what, Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation is Lena's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer, Joe Darkey of the Joe Darkey killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time.
Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. It was an incident that was relevant 2 years ago, relevant now.
Or that took place 2 years ago, relevant now. Yes, it most certainly is.
Well, okay then.
He sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's about to lead to the truth behind this trial. "2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder?
That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his... Oop, I missed that one. Oh well.
Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
I'll never forget what I saw. Trilby, what did you see? Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Darkgate. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out.
Wait a minute. If this was pitch dark in the room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then, lightning flashed again outside. The sun flash left an unforgettable image in the scene of my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Mr. Detective Goodman, he was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim? So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the same time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Oh yeah, I think she mentioned that before.
Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
Ask about the picture. I'm not gonna give up. This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture.
Witness, would you mind if we added this testimony? Do you mind if we added this testimony to
Statement to your testimony? Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. Your picture of the scene you witnessed? Yes, I want to do everything I could to help the investigation. I could still see it now whenever I close my eyes.
That's straight.
That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken? But I drew it, I swear. I'm not just imagining it. That picture Emma had. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Could you please describe it to us? The man... Alright, I think Gumshoe said something about him having a stack of evidence. Or no, that's this one. Mr. Edgeworth? This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence. Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold.
This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident.
Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Turn it... Ah! Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew.
Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here.
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list?
Me?
Only the prosecutor in charge should have the access to that list.
Huh? These lists, they're different from each other.
What?
It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the mark here where they were torn apart from each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What?
Order. But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed to me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, that means... Your Honor,
Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
if the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's possible. Let's see. What's up? Oof, we've been live for like 2 hours. Wow, impressive. It's possible. Let's see. Is something
wrong?
Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There's indeed something drawn on the back of this list. It's that thing.
What's that? That thing?
That thing was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper? Evidence lists were stored and updated in court record.
Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture. Alright. Let's save. It's been too long since I've saved. I need a drink of water real quick. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were these shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that incident.
You think such a flash of lightning could burn such an image into your mind?
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw.
Well, I don't see any contradiction here. This clearly shows Joe Darkey about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
Emma's picture. What? Okay. Hold it! Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene! It wasn't influenced in any way from the talks with your detectives. Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. Oh, I better watch out or we might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me.
Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture?
Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Your Honor, the statement contradicts this evidence. Wait, what? Oh, did I do the wrong one? Creep. Wait. I thought I... Hold on. Oh, I'm dumb. I did the wrong autopsy report. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Wait, what? That one didn't do it either? Wait. Hold on. I thought that would, like, that could be his mistake in the autopsy report for Marshall. Maybe I just did it on the wrong slide. So, Marshall's autopsy report. What up? What'd I do? I just got a text. Alright, there we go. Alright, there we go. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this contradiction contradicts the...
Isn't it the knife? The knife was, like, broken off, right? The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife he's holding. As you can see closely, the tip is broken.
Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the broken weapon? See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken, too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive evidence. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Darkey was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And here, and where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not be broken.
Whoa! What's the meaning of this?
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly have wound up there.
That's right. What does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. Or, wrongfully, whatever.
Only possible explanation is that the victim's witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. But she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no way this explains this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There's another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny that possibility. No.
Order, order, order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupt?
Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questions Joe Darkey about with Demon Gant. Let's save again. During his questioning, Joe Darkey fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Darkey. It is my belief that somewhere in the story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there is no other way around it. This may not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife.
What are the chances of there being 2 broken knives?
Another broken knife besides Joe Darkey's? Could there have been one? There's totally gotta be another one, right? Oops. I keep closing chat. Stop it. There's another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright, in that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife.
I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us.
The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take another look at this. Here's the actual murder weapon. Oh.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Well, broken knife.
The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is the picture of the award ceremony.
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award the prosecutor marshal is holding.
Bruh.
That's a certified bruh moment right there.
This is certified hood classic.
That's
a broken knife? As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Darkey's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award.
Order.
Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a knife. When he chased after Joe Darkey, he pulled out his knife. This knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in a dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murder weapon and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have to be Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Huh?
But the prosecutor was the one who actually died.
That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything.
Witness,
Mr. Edgeworth,
what is it?
could you show me your evidence list again, please?
His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back?
I knew it! This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list was... Oops. Oh, I missed that one. All this time we've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me.
Perhaps it was the best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you recall, Mrs. Sky?
Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. Alright. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards... Oops. I keep clicking too fast. I'm missing it. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. And then there was another flash of light, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't... I'm just gonna go back and read that again.
This is certainly most unusual.
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago.
Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Stop! Please don't pursue this any further! Lena, what's the meaning of this?
Please remain seated in your defendant's chair.
But you can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back.
Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant.
Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Alright, now I can finally read this. Alright. I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. And just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. The blue badger didn't even exist 2 years ago. So what exactly did Emma see? I've been gathering all the evidence, and all that's left now is to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Alright. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was Chief of Detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was this year. The blue badger didn't even exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange, but I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him somewhere before. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion.
Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing?
He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see his face with his winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. This thing couldn't possibly have existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is that caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then I'll by all means tell us. What is this shadow? What it really was? What was it Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who was this blue badger really? The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma saw this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow? Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there is indeed something that looks similar to the blue badger. Oh, I'm saving. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright?
In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike.
The mysterious blue badger was, in fact, this.
Well, that's... what exactly is that?
I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed, it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint?
Our viewpoint.
I've got to show them the correct angle to look at it from this angle. To make it look like this angle. Oh no.
Let's go.
Oh. Let's get it.
No, I messed it up.
Oh no! Oh no, that was a mistake. I didn't even make it. I didn't even. That was a mistake. My hand slipped. Oh, at least it didn't deduct any points. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. Like this. How about that? You like that? What? Are you kidding me? How is that not it? That was like exactly it. What the heck? That's weird. Am I supposed to... Is it not like this? Maybe I was like just barely off or something. Oh, there we go. Well, that makes it easy. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny that this jar resembles... that this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Oh, no one can possibly deny this resemblance. No, it can't be.
Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. Mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this.
Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So the blue badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, that changes everything. Indeed, very well. Please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness who saw this jar? Well, we know the murderer, the weapon location. Well, wasn't it Gant who made the blue badger in the first place? And if he got the inspiration from that, he only would have seen it at the scene of the crime before it broke. Meaning, was it like falling through the air and he like saw it and like made the blue badger based off that? Meaning he had to have been there at the murder, right? Which means Gant was at the murder scene at least. That's what I'm thinking.
at a very specific angle, Mr. Wright.
Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf in the office of Demon Gant.
But the body was found lying near Lena Sky's desk. The witness testified that. Yes, and these two facts are what reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between the Darkade Marshal did not take place in Lena Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body?
Yeah, big brain, 200 IQ time, baby.
From Damon Gant's office to Lena Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical reason is that there was a reason.
You know what the reason was, Mr. Wright.
I finally figured it out.
So this is why
Lena was trying to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony.
She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying?
That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man who was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would have been hit?
Oh, the suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword.
Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, it would have been Neil Marshall holding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking.
Yes. There's another possibility that what actually transpired in this room.
Another possibility.
Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this.
Mr. Wright, what's the matter?
If events took place that the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Whoa.
You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No!
Thud.
I never imagined your testimony would lead to this.
So it was the victim who took it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved with her own testimony. This is unprecedented.
What? What are you saying?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Sky, but given the circumstances,
Joe Darkey murdered
Prosecutor Marshall. How could you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? And no, it can't be. I don't know, dude.
Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it?
Are you sure you, Mr. Edgeworth? I had no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves your sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? Or that proved my sister, whatever. I'm willing to bet you don't.
Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence.
If we don't have any evidence,
Then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has to be a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Mrs. Sky. Of course, this leaves us with only one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have been left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist?
I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. Oh, I totally have it, dude. It's the blood on the jar. Didn't he, like, write something with a handprint? This message from the deceased is already in our possession, dude.
Let's go.
Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister's a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Mrs. Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we should seek: the truth. No matter how painful, no matter how painful it may be.
Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased.
The jar. OMG, I can't open my eyes. Me neither, but I have to read this. Right. This is the message left by the deceased.
This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he just gonna speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Oh, I gotta go to bed. Good night. Okay. Good night. I'm sure there's only a few minutes left in this case. Do you want me to wait for you? Because I'll probably just, like, stream it tomorrow. It's getting kind of late for me, too. I can just wait. No? What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. It's up to me, okay. Whoa, it's 5 a.m. for you? Oh, man. Yeah, for me it's 10 p.m., so it's like not even that bad. Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragment was not wiped away. Yes, there was a line here drawn in blood. So what are you saying? Is these dots were once lines? Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments he had to leave a message behind. One that someone apparently would find. Alright, good night, Ron. See ya. Have a good night. Or morning, I guess. Anyway, it's been fun talking with you. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Anyway, I'll be posting this on my YouTube channel too, so That's my YouTube channel. I hope the link works. Let's see if this link works on my bot. I haven't even used this before. Yo, it works! Okay, cool. Anyway. This is my YouTube channel. I'll be posting my VODs there. I'll try and get this one up pretty soon, so if anybody wants to watch it, they can. Yeah. Precisely so. All I need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No.
Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us?
Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Alright, well, let's use this Lumina. Wait, I can't use it? Why not? The heck? The heck? Oh well. Oh, wait. See if we can write the word Emma. Oh no! Oh no! Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, you hate to see it, dude. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Oof! Alright. What do you think? I came up with this message.
Yes.
Wait, what? Are you kidding me? Why didn't that work? Hold on. Oops, that's not it. Heck. That's it, right? There we go. I don't know why it wasn't right, but okay. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why I've been thinking about... That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lena. After all my effort, I never thought it would turn out like this. You know what? Screw it, you know what? I will save this for tomorrow. I will save it for tomorrow. It's late. It's 5 a.m. for both Verm and Ron. So I will be waiting until tomorrow to finish this. I mean, might as well. So, yeah. Gonna double save. And I'm gonna be done now. So, see ya.
Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for all the new follows. Means a lot. See you all tomorrow. See ya.